Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to make the controversial argument for why Warzone needs skill-based matchmaking and why it's usually a good thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys hear me out to the end, and let's just get into it. The very first thing I want to say about skill-based matchmaking is it's better for the average player without a shadow of a doubt. In Warzone right now, if you play solos primarily, you have easier lobbies than if you were playing duos and trios and whatnot. But what I found is the average KD in solos lobby is lower. However, there's usually 2 to 3 very good players that have a 2.5 KD or higher in the lobby. I have a 3 plus rebirth KD myself, and pretty much game after game, those 3 to 5 really good players were the ones who end up winning the game 9 out of 10 times. So now you need to picture the average player, someone who has a 0.9 KD, maybe a 1 KD. They play Warzone a good bit, but they're not a super sweat. They don't really have a chance against us. They don't really have a chance against the super sweaty players. They don't have a chance against people like myself. I'm not kidding. This is not meant to brag. This isn't meant to shame these people. There's just a very obvious skill gap. And when I'm in a 1v1, I'm not really worried at all most of the time when I'm playing solos. And when you play duos, trios, and quads, it is a good thing that you are probably in the lower tier lobbies if you have a low enough KD. The issue arises when you're just an above average player. If you're someone who has a 1.5 KD, maybe a 1.7, if you're pretty good at the game, you unfortunately are going to run into the super sweats all the time, and they kind of ruin it. So you are the main people getting screwed over. People like myself with my 3.5 overall KD, my 3 plus resurgence KD, whatever, I'm not worried about other good players. Yeah, it's going to be more difficult. I have to play better, but I'm going to win most of those gunfights. But when you have a 1.5 KD, you're better than 80% of the community, so you aren't going to get put into lower tier lobbies. But on the flip side, you have to go against people who have a KD twice as high as yours, and that's ridiculous if you really think about it. But this is going to lead into my second point, and this is why Warzone needs a ranked mode. If you're one of those average or above average players I just talked about, then ranked is going to be perfect. Because if you get a gold platinum ranked, which is pretty good and signifies you're in the top 15-20% of the entire player base, it's going to feel a lot better. You're going to know that you're actually a good player. It's going to show in the results. It's going to show in your ranking. And you're going to feel a lot more confident about your ability and your overall skill level and just yourself as a player. But now also put yourself in the shoes of a quote-unquote bad player. You're going to get lobbies with almost all players of your own skill level aside from the few random smurfs that you know are going to be in your game. This is going to be much better. You can play whatever map you want, you can play whatever mode you want as long as they have it in ranked play, and you're going to be facing people of your own skill level. And if you're a good player like me, then you should absolutely want to face the highest tier of competition and have that high rank. If you are a high tier player and you want to pick on lower skill players, you have to genuinely question how good you are at the game. I'm not saying this to be mean either. I played competitive Call of Duty at a high level. This is why I'm good at Warzone, because I tried to go pro in Call of Duty. I ended up facing a lot of current COD pros in tournaments and actually beating them and playing better than them sometimes. And what I learned, if you aren't trying to beat the best, then you're never ever going to be the best or be even that great overall. And this is something that most people need to realize. Ranked play, in my mind, would be a great addition for pretty much every single skill tier of player in Warzone. The only issues I can really see are good team balancing with random matchups and all of that. And the flip side is you're going to have a lot of smurfs. You're going to have a lot of people trying to figure out how to get in easier lobbies because it just boosts their ego and it makes them feel good. And that's something that's going to ruin it for a lot of people. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, but when you combine smurfs and the potential couple cheaters, even though the cheating situation has been way better the past year or so, really since they've added Ricochet, it's still going to be a problem every now and then, and it's going to ruin a lot of games for people in ranked. The last thing I'm going to cover in this video, though, is going to be that it's just way better for new player retention if there is skill-based matchmaking. It's not to say skill-based matchmaking is perfect. There's still tons of issues with it. I don't think it's overall a perfect system. And as I said before, if you're an above average player, skill-based matchmaking actually kind of sucks. But the reality is if you're a new player, if you're a below average player, it's just overall better to have it. And it's something people don't really process. If you are new to Warzone and you're trying to learn this game that has a ton of different mechanics, has a ton of different guns, the looting is different from a lot of other battle royales, and it's just overall different from a lot of battle royales, it's not going to feel the same. You're not going to have good loadouts, you're not going to understand the movement mechanics or how all of this works, and you're just going to feel like it's too much and you're going to feel overwhelmed. But by pairing you against other new players and actually having a protected skill gap for new players, you're going to be able to actually have enjoyable matches, and this is something people underestimate. When you're trying to bring a lot of new people into the game, which is going to be better for everyone who plays Warzone, then you have to some degree, focus on retaining the new players that actually try your game. If let's say you have 10 million new people try your game, but only 500,000 stick around, then that's not good. It doesn't really matter that, yes, that's 500,000 new players, because that's just a drop in the bucket of the potential player base you could have had, and that's why new player base retention is actually so important, and it actually is going to make for a way healthier player population. Because Warzone has been losing players, it's been losing popularity the past year, everyone's kind of known about Warzone 2 coming and all of that. Lobbies have been way sweatier, the player base is getting better and better, and there's not a lot of casual and average players left, and it makes lobbies feel sometimes exhausting and almost outright obnoxious to play in, and I even say that as a sweat myself. So what you have to realize is if we have a bunch of new players, it's just going to make all of those average and below average players enjoy the game a lot more, and it's going to make for a way better time for them. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good day. I hope you understand why I actually kind of support skill-based matchmaking. And thank you for watching this video. It's been Ryan. Peace.